They called my dog dangerous, they tried to tear him away from me. But the same people who wanted him gone. Their children are alive today only because of him. This is the story of how my dangerous dog became a hero. Dog Red Heart. When Emily moved into her quiet suburban neighborhood, she thought life would finally be peaceful. She had one companion who had seen her through every storm of life, Max, her golden retriever. Max wasn't just a dog, he was family. Loyal, gentle, and especially loving with kids, he was the heartbeat of her home. But the HOA board didn't see Max that way. One morning, Emily received a letter slipped under her door: "Your dog has been deemed dangerous to the neighborhood. Immediate action required." Emily's heart sank. Apparently, one board member claimed Max barked too loudly and snarled at children. The truth: Max only barked when the mailman came by, and every kid in the neighborhood adored him. Yet, the HOA labeled him a threat, threatened Emily with fines, and even hinted they'd force her to rehome him. Emily's tears flowed that night as Max rested his head on her lap, unaware of the storm brewing. She whispered, "Don't worry, boy. They'll never take you away from me." Weeks later, the HOA organized a grand event at the community park, a family gathering filled with games, food, and laughter. Ironically, the same people who demanded Max be banned brought their children to play freely. Emily didn't want trouble, so she kept Max at home, peeking at the event from her window. But as the sun began to set, joy turned into chaos. A loud crack echoed, the sound of a tree branch breaking. Parents screamed as they realized a giant tree limb was falling, right above the children's play area. Panic filled the air. Parents froze, unable to move quickly enough. And that's when Emily's front door slammed open. Max had bolted, his instincts sharper than fear itself. He sprinted into the park, barking furiously. Without hesitation, he pushed into the crowd of kids, nudging and herding them away from the spot. The branch crashed down with a deafening thud. Dirt flew everywhere. When the dust settled, every child stood safe, protected by Max's bravery. Parents stood speechless. Kids clung to Max, crying and laughing, calling him a hero. The next morning, the HOA called for an emergency meeting. Emily arrived with Max at her side, her heart pounding. The same board members who once called Max dangerous now looked ashamed. One mother stood and said, "If it weren't for this dog, my son would have been under that tree. He saved our children's lives." Another added, "We called him dangerous, but he was the only one brave enough to act." The room fell silent until the HOA president cleared his throat and admitted, "We were wrong." The HOA lifted all restrictions on Max immediately. Not only that, they voted to honor him as the official community dog, placing a plaque in the park that read, "In honor of Max, the dog who saved our children." Emily hugged Max tightly, tears streaming down her face. For once, the HOA had given justice instead of punishment. And as Max wagged his tail, surrounded by kids who loved him, Emily whispered, "They finally see you for who you really are, my hero." Dog Red Heart.